Wednesday, everyone. Thank you for joining me early on our first morning here in Greece. I hope you had a good night's sleep. I know not everyone woke up to be with us, but I'm glad you did. And I wanted to share some myths with you while we're here. And today's more of an introduction than anything. But I wanted to cross-compare Greek mythology to Indian mythology. I love all types of mythology, and I love Joseph Campbell and his work on studying all the myths around the world and doing his cross comparisons and seeing how they're all related. When we look back at these myths, most people just look at them as being stories. You know, stories that the ancient civilizations made up. And some people look at it as being real, and that these gods and goddesses really did exist. And there's even a notion out there that in ancient civilizations where they had this ancient technology and these people that had all these superpowers were actually extraterrestrial life that were coming to visit the planet, gifting us these things, and then these things have been lost. But we have these writings and stories to remind us of that history. So I don't know how you look at it or view it, but we're just going to view it just for fun. In both Greek mythology and Indian mythology, there's a trilogy or Trinity. In Hinduism or in Indian myths, they have Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. And similar to Christians' idea of Trinity, of God, Holy Spirit, and Jesus. The Indian myths are actually the more original myths. They are the ones that go back in time, I think over 4,000 years. And the Greek myths are around about 3,000 years. So some people say that Greek mythology actually stems from Indian mythology. And when Gabriel was little and he was getting into superheroes, I thought, I don't really want to get into superheroes. I don't really know much about Batman. I don't really care much about Spider-Man. I want to teach him about these gods and goddesses that had all these powers. And so we would play little games and we would pretend we were Shiva or Vishnu and we knew their powers, and we would do this when we were riding around in the car or at home playing games. And then his dad started introducing him to Greek mythology, and he just ran with Greek mythology. And so he read all these books and studied all these myths. And it was lots of fun hearing him talk about the myths, because anytime he would talk about any god or goddess from the Greek mythology, I would cross compare to the Indian mythology so that he was learning about both. So it's a little bit different, but in Indian mythology with Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, Brahma represents the creator, like in Christianity is the Godhead. And then we have Vishnu, who's the preserver of life, right? So God is kind of like the birthing. The Holy Spirit or Vishnu is like the preserver of life. And then you have Shiva or Jesus, which is like kind of like the savior at death, about death and transformation. So when we look at Greek mythology, their trinity was Zeus, Hades, and Poseidon. Zeus was not necessarily the creator, but he was considered the father. He was considered the great protector. And he actually had a weapon of thunderbolts and lightning. So with Zeus having that weapon, if you look at Indian mythology, it wasn't Brahma that had the lightning bolt, it was Indra. Indra was the lord of the skies, and Indra controlled the weather and the storms, and his weapon was the thunderbolt. So I'm comparing Indra with Zeus on this occasion and for this purpose. And then we have Poseidon. Poseidon, holds a trident, and he's the god of the water and the seas, and so is Vishnu. Vishnu, the preserver in Indian mythology, governed the waters and the seas, and he also had a trident. And the trident represents, at least in Hinduism, past, present, and future. It's represented as a divine symbol. So we'll be doing things today in threes to represent the trident. And then, of course, we have, one thing I wanted to share with Ella, but she decided, I guess, to sleep in this morning. Poseidon, in one of the stories, used his trident to hit a rock and created the first horse. So I thought that was cool. In Greek mythology, Hades is considered the lord of the underworld. He was considered the lord of death. He was considered the one that was the decider and the holder of the souls, and he was all about justice. So he would decide and determine basically your fate. And Shiva is the one that would take it into death, but I don't want to compare it to Shiva. I want to compare it more to Yama. Yama was actually the Hindu god of the underworld, who also was of justice and who also helped to determine what happened in the afterworld. Both Indian mythology and Greek mythology had a dog that stood at the gates of the underworld. We'll be doing the dog pose today. And they both had stories of gods and goddesses and romance and drama and war. And they both honored mountains as being the center of the earth. So in Greek mythology, it was Mount Olympus, and in Hinduism or Indian myths, it was, I believe, Mount Meru, if I'm pronouncing it correct. So there's a lot of similarities, a lot of patterns that you see that overlay each other, even though the stories are quite different. So we're going to be bringing some of these things and thread it into our practice today. Some of the poses that we'll be doing will represent either the weapons or the gods themselves. But I wanted to share that on the first day, and I know there's several that we covered, but hopefully you find this to be pretty fascinating. We're going to start with some breath work. So I would advise maybe sitting on top of a prop, sitting in any cross-legged position that's comfortable for you, resting your hands on your lap, and letting the shoulders release down and away from the ears. Close the eyes. Take a moment to just sit tall and to form a relationship with your breath. Even though I didn't want to relate Shiva to Hades, he is related to Yama, the Indian god of the underworld. There was a point where one of Shiva's devotees was trapped by Yama, and so he killed Yama. But then eventually he breathed life back into Yama to bring him back. The first thing that we do when we're born is inhale. And the last thing we do when our soul departs from this body is exhale. So really place importance upon your breath, because the breath is part of our preservation. You can relate that back to Vishnu or the Holy Spirit. Take some deep breaths in and out through the nose. Acknowledging the ripple effects as it rolls from the belly to the chest and back down. Looking at that as being like a wave. Let your breath smooth out and develop a nice rhythm. Let the breath get you grounded into your body, into the seat. And allow it to drop you out of your head and into your heart. Take 3 more deep breaths. And then we're going to do Parventasana, the seated mountain pose, as the mountains are considered sacred. Lift the arms up on the in-breath. Place your palms together overhead with your elbows bent. Widen the arms to widen and open the chest. And take a deep breath in. Draw the navel in and up. Hold and retain it. And exhale, release. Close the eyes and gaze in and up to the mind's eye, the center of the brow. Breathing in. Hold and trap that prana at the heart. And exhale, let it go. One more deep breath in. Retain. And exhale, release. And affirming here before we release the arms, my thoughts and energy rise up to touch the sky. On your next in-breath, reach the arms up overhead, and as you exhale, spray the arms all the way around the body, and you can crack the eyelids open. Good, we're gonna come away from that seat, and we're gonna get up to stand, and we're gonna get right into the flow today. I'm actually gonna turn this way. So just kind of roll back and forth between the heels and the balls of the feet, spreading the toes nice and wide. You're engaging the legs, but trying to avoid locking the knees. Zip up through your midriff. Bring the hands to prayer position at your heart. And on your next in-breath, sweep the arms to your sides and up. Place the hands together in that same mudra we did last night. Drawing upward through the fingertips, but grounding down through the soles of the feet. Exhale, curve to the right. Inhale to center, and exhale left. Inhale to the top, exhale to the right. Inhaling up, exhaling left. One more. Flowing with breath. Inhale all the way up, and exhale, spray the arms down alongside your body, keeping your legs fully engaged. Let your arms kind of reach down towards the floor. Let the crown of the head lift up towards the heavens. Standing mountain pose, Tadasana. And then you can let go a little bit of that engagement to bring your hands to Anjali Mudra, prayer position at your heart. As you inhale, sweep the arms to your sides and up. And as you exhale, fold down into your Uttanasana, your standing forward fold. Inhale, come halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. And exhale, release. On your next inhalation, we're gonna step the left foot back. When you step the left foot back, keep pressing down through that front foot, stabilize that front knee, and we're coming up into crescent. When you rise into crescent, we're gonna come up and down 3 times over. As you exhale, we're gonna pour over the front thigh and sail the arms back behind. Inhale, nice and slow, slow and steady. Exhale, fold. One more, inhale. And exhale. All right, now we're gonna try to stabilize at the top one more time. Lace the hands together into that mudra. Lock the arms alongside the ears and see if you can start to strike a back bend. Feeling this crescent moon shape coming and swooping down through your back, from your thumbs to your heels. Affirming here as you hold. I am free. I am free. As you exhale, release your hands down to the floor, pressing into the hands, stepping back into plank. From plank, hold and take 3 strong yogic breaths. Once you complete those, you're going to descend your knees, and you're going to come down like a half chaturanga, and then inhale, push back up. Exhale, coming forward and down like a half chaturanga. Inhale up, building a little strength. One more. And then when you're lowering to the floor, untuck your toes, come down to the belly, and you're going to bring the forehead to the floor. And your arms are going to release down beside you. Take a couple deep breaths here. We're going to prepare for some back strengthening poses, but we're going to flow. Before we start to flow, inhale, lift your left leg up just a few inches. Lengthen through the thigh bone, shin bone, and foot, and gently lower. And notice how you stretched out that leg more than the right. Notice the engagement even in the glutes and the buttocks. Now do the same with the right leg. Lift it up, send it back, and gently lower down. Keeping the legs lengthening, keeping the knees floating away from the earth, and the glutes engaged. Now bring the back of the hands to rest at your low back. As you inhale, you're going to slowly lift your head, shoulders, chest, and your right arm is going to reach out in front. As you exhale, you slowly come down. Inhale, this time left arm lifts. Slowly send it forward, and exhale, release. Inhale, right arm. Exhale, release. Inhale, left. Exhale, release. Do one more to each side. Lengthening the legs will help to increase the space of the low back so it's not crunching too much. Once you descend down, hands are going to go back underneath your shoulders. Curl the toes under, pluck up the knees, draw in through your core, push down through your palms, and see if you can come straight up plank. Good, exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Now we're in one of our dog poses. Pressing into the hands, lengthening back through the arms, shining up through your seat, lowering the head and gazing towards your feet. The Padayura Grandrishi. Take 3 deep breaths. Remember, if you ever need to modify, you can do puppy or child's. On your next in breath, left foot's going to step through. Ground that front foot, and when you're ready, float the hands up. Coming into crescent. Give you a moment to find your balance. It helps to gaze at one special spot. This view's amazing. All right, exhale, fold. Inhale up. Exhale, descend. Again, flow with breath. Love hearing the breath. Inhale, coming up. Create the mudra overhead. And then see if you can gently lean back. Now invest in your breath. I know that many of us feel like freedoms have been slipping away from us, but yoga promotes moksha, internal liberation. So say to yourself, I am free, I am free. Hands down. Back foot steps through. Open up halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, drape. And be here. In the inversion, helps to allow us to let go. Think about shedding something away here, like a snake shedding its skin. What can we remove from our past? Maybe conditioning, maybe trauma.
maybe mishaps. And dump it all here. Be renewed. On your next in-breath, root down through the feet, sweep the arms to your sides and up. When you come all the way up to Parventasana, bring the palms together and descend them back down to the heart. All right, second sentence out. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, fold into self. Inhale, sprout up. Potential for growth. And exhale, release. Inhale, let's take plank. Get your arms strong like the columns that you may have seen back in Athens. It's amazing some of them are still standing. The body is like our architecture. And this is the vehicle we need to take care of. On your next out breath, descend your knees. Now, if you'd rather do Ashtanga Pranam, you can switch it up. If you'd rather do half chaturanga, bringing the hips down with the shoulders, you can choose. I'm going to do the half chaturangas. I'm doing 3 sets. And if you want full chaturanga, go for it. And then on the next in-breath, we're going to slither through, lengthen your legs back, keep your hands down, keep your shoulders rolled, and then lift a little higher to Bhujangasana. And then exhale, come down to the brow. 2 more sets. Inhale, rolling up. Exhale, descend down. Last one, inhale up. Hold. Affirming, I rise joyfully to greet each and every new opportunity. Welcome this day with the opportunity to be here. And then gently lower. Inhale, we're going to push up to table. And exhale, take a quick moment and extend a child's pose. When you're in extended child's pose, see if you can super glue your hands to the mat to create more traction through your arms and back. Let your belly rest over your lap and do some deep breaths. If you need to relax your arms to the floor, go with what you feel is best. You can be active or passive, yogi's choice. Inhale, rock up. Exhale, downward facing dog. Holding and breathing here, creating space in between each vertebra. Instead of grounding your heels, lift your heels by pushing down through the balls of the feet. Let the heels levitate up. Now exhale, pump them down. All right, inhale, lift up. This helps to drain some of the lymphatic tissues in the lower body. Pump them down. One more lift. And exhale, spill. On your next inhalation, we're going to step the right foot forward and up in between the hands. We're going to turn and plant the back foot to the floor. And we're going to float the hands and start here. All right, on the in-breath, we're going to take the arms up and straighten the front leg. And then as we exhale, we're going to lunge the knee and bring the arms down. And the spine's going to stay erect over the hips. Inhale up. Exhale, lunge. Inhale up. Exhale, lunge. More functional movements. All right, inhale. Keep the front knee bent. Now we're going to be more active. Link the hands together, and we're going to return to that lightning lunge that we did last night. Glue that back foot down. Lean out, angle over that front thigh. Cast your gaze down and breathe. Lightning representing Indra, representing Zeus and their weapon of choice. Exhale, hands down. Step back down dog. Inhale, lift the heels high. Exhale, drop the heels low. 2 more rounds. Feels so good to move the body after all this travel we've done. Inhale, left foot forward. Back foot grounds. Float your hands and rise. Find your stability first. When you're ready, inhale, arms lift. Straighten the front leg. Easy, simple movement. Exhale, release. Nothing too engaged or fierce. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Keep that front knee bent. Lift the arms up. Create your mudra and hinge. Feel as though you're creating the shape of a lightning bolt flashing from the skies. But calm any storms in your mind by slowing down your breath. Exhale, hands down. Step up to the front and fold. If your hands touch the floor, flip them upside down. If you find there's too much engagement and you want to be a little bit more loose, you can soften the knees. Listen to your body. Feel into your body. Affirming here as you hold. Nothing and no one on this earth can hold me down or back. And you may already know this, but Zeus's grandmother was Gaia. And the goddess Gaia was the goddess of the earth. And that's where we get the name Mother Gaia. So connect to the earth. Ground down into yourself and appreciate her bounty. Inhale all the way up to the top. And exhale, hands to heart. Samastiti. All right, we're going to do one more sun sal. Inhale, arms reach. Exhale, fold. In and halfway up. Out and lower back down. Inhale, let's take plank. Pausing in plank for 3 breaths to build up a little strength. And if you begin to feel a little weak, you can descend your knees and do tabletop. Keep the head up. Keep the belly hugging in. And then exhale, lower the knees. And then if you want to do Ashtanga Pranayama, you keep the hips in the air. If you want to do half chaturanga, the hips come down with the shoulders. And if you feel like, I just need child's pose, please, take child's pose. Whenever you dip, if you are doing this flow, we're going to push the heart through and up to upward facing dog. And exhale back into child's. We're going to rock forward on the in-breath to modified up dog, keeping the knees on the floor. And exhale to child's. One more. And this time I want you to be more passive if you were active before. So in other words, if you want to keep your arms outstretched, the elbows drop and the fingers slightly curl in. If you would rather, wrap the arms around the body, palms up at the feet, shoulders collapsing over the knees. You can be here. So I look at child's pose as often being like a stone or a rock. And I like to breathe into the back side of the body and feel that ripple up and down alongside the spine. And just think about how water is such a beautiful
earthly element that also helps to preserve life. But also consider how you could have like a really jagged rock or stone, but when it tumbles and flows with the water, it eventually comes into like a smooth river stone. So smooth out any rough edges of your breath. And remember the story of how Poseidon struck the trident to the rock that formed the first horse, according to that myth. Inhale, let's outstretch the arms. They're not already. Let's lift the head, look down the lane of your mat. Rock up to hands and knees, and then exhaling Adho Mukha Svanasana. All right, this time we're going to inhale. Lift the left leg halfway up, pushing back through that heel, and as we exhale, we're bringing the shin just behind the hands for pigeon. The right leg will extend back. All right, so in my lineage of yoga, there's an affirmation for pigeon that we're going to bring in, but we're actually going to come up and down 3 times. So stack on the fingertips, and as you exhale, pour over. Inhale, draw up through the navel, slightly round the back, and then open the throat, lift the face towards the sun, and exhale, ripple down. Third round, power and magic of 3, and exhale, release. This time we're walking the arms out. Maybe you need to stop here in Sphinx. Maybe you want to rest in prayer hands. Maybe you can fully descend. There's no right or wrong, there's no good or bad. In fact, sometimes when we descend all the way down, we discover, oops, maybe I need to back up. Listen to that inner knowing and inner guidance. Just because we can doesn't always mean that we should. I wanted to give us a nice hip opener. To flush out the hips, to bring more circulation here. After all of our travel. Each breath that you take, each moment that you hold, think about juicing up the hips. The hips being one of our primary areas of movement in the body. It's important to keep ourselves mobile. Even though this pose allows us time to reflect and to reminisce and to go within, we're going to start to rise up and bring in the Ananda affirmation. I rise above the past and the future to this eternal moment of now. Once you stack the hands shoulder distance apart, curl the back toes, we're going to launch back to Adho Mukha Svanasana. Once in downward facing dog, we're going to inhale, lift that right leg up. Keep the shoulders square, try to keep the hips pretty square. And then as you exhale, start to draw that knee underneath the belly and shine it out towards the right side of your mat as you lower the shin, right leg or left leg slides back and walk it out. Discover where you want to hold, where you want to be in this pose. Feel free to use any of these props that are around us.
Notice when you're melting down into this position, if you're holding any unnecessary tension. Oh, thank you, Miss Sandra. I looked up and saw you. Please bring your hands back and stack onto your fingertips. Inhale, come up. Exhale, release. Always call me out if I fail to do something on one side that I did on the other. Or incorporate it in if I don't see you adding it in. And then once you do your 3, go ahead and release again. Immerse yourself with breath. Find that unnecessary tension. It may be forming somewhere. Sometimes it's in the belly. Oftentimes, though, it shows up in the face, in the mouth, or the jaw. Experience a moment of sweet surrender. Next in breath, let's slowly start to rise, rising above the past and future to this moment of now. Once you plant the hands, tuck the back toes, take Adho Mukha Svanasana. And this is our final downward facing dog. Take 3 deep breaths. And then inhale, travel the feet forward. Walking, slowly stepping, lifting halfway up on arrival. And then exhale, drop back in. You know, something just dawned on me. I wonder if the dog being the protector of the gates of the underworld, I wonder if that's the reason dogs aren't as well respected in India. It's interesting. Something to think about. Inhale, come all the way up. And exhale, hands to heart. I'm not saying everywhere in India, but when you go there, there's a lot of dogs on the streets that are sad. All right, step to one side or the other. It doesn't matter which way you face, but we're gonna separate the feet a good wide distance. And I want you to turn your left foot 90 degrees. And you're gonna float your arms up, shoulder height. So we were talking about the Trinity. So I like to do triangle pose when I talk about that subject matter. So when you're ready, lengthen out over that left leg and exhale, windmill the arms down. Your hand can rest on your shin or you can have it in front of your shin if you want to do it more the Iyengar way. Breathe. Think of the 3 points of the triangle. I often refer to it as representing mind, body, spirit, but it can also represent Zeus, Hades, Poseidon, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. Or you can take it to the Western idea of God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit. All right, inhale, come up. Keep your arms out shoulder height. Exhale, lunge that left knee. And you're gonna bring that hand to rest facing out on the inside of the shin. Fingers just barely, barely, barely touch the floor, if at all. It doesn't have to. A variation of side angle. All right, inhale, come up. Exhale, relax your arms. Turn the left foot in. Rotate your right foot out. Let's take it to that side. Inhale, arms lift. Lean out over that front leg and exhale, triangle, Trikonasana. Think about rolling open through your belly and chest. Think about stacking the ribs over the thigh. Reaching that arm way up towards the sky. And breathe. Inhale, draw up. Exhale, lunge the left knee, and then come right back down. Side angle, Parventasana. Notice we tend to loosen up the grip in the back foot, but apply more pressure into that back leg. Engage the left quads. Good, inhale, draw up. Exhale, relax the arms. And step back up to the top of your mat, turning your feet properly, of course. When you're ready, float the arms up. Palms open to the sky, bend the knees. Drive the hips back a little. Pause here. We're going to start to bring it down to the floor. So when you're ready, you can lift your heels. You can bring your hands down. You can lower the hands and just lower yourself to the floor, or if you want to bring the hands down, if you want to engage your core and lengthen out through the legs, you can descend that way too. I gotta turn away from the sun. It's getting to be too much. Bend the knees. You can do a little core work. So take your hands up underneath your thighs, shoulders roll back, lift one foot, then the other. If you need hand support, just use it. If you can release your arms, try it, but make sure you're not just engaging your hip flexors, but your belly. So, I don't remember if it was Poseidon, or if it was Vishnu, or both, but one or the other, or both, was considered the protector of sailors. All right, bring the feet in and fold. And a good hip opening after we were sitting for such long hours. And inhale, gently come up. Bring the hands underneath the knees, draw them back together. All right, we're gonna slide the legs out, and we're gonna come down to our back. So draw your left knee towards your chest, and take a hold of it with your hands. All right, inhale, now stretch the arms overhead and your left leg forward and out. And as you exhale, gently hug the left knee in. 2 more. Slow, gentle movements. After this third one, hold that knee. But then allow the right hand to slip away and let your left foot lift towards the ceiling. Let the knee angle off to the left side of your body. Take a hold of the foot with your left hand and draw that knee down towards the left side of your mat, where it's slipping off to the side of the body. It's like half happy baby. The right leg can just stay more relaxed, so you can isolate the work on the left side. Let your right hand rest on your belly. Feeling the belly expand as you breathe in and deflate as you breathe out. Notice what you may be holding in this left side. This could be the holding tank in the body. It's often called the junk drawer of the body. On your next in-breath, we're going to go into lightning boat pose. So you're going to lift your right leg and let it hover just above the floor. Squeeze the belly in, slowly peel the head away from the mat, and you're reaching your right arm towards your right foot. I learned this in my first ever yoga workshop I went to with Eric Schiffman. He came to Nashville for like 25 years in a row before he quit traveling so much. Let this represent again Zeus and Indra. And then lower the right foot and release the left. And slide it out. Now take a little mini corpse position. Legs extended, feet fanned out, arms at a A-frame angle beside your body. And just feel that flush in the left side. You may even notice you're a little bit more sedated or grounded on the left side. It's subtle, but notice. All right, let's slide the feet closer together. Draw the right knee in. Let your hands hold. And then inhale, extend the arms overhead, right leg extends out. And exhale, draw it back together. 2 more. Slow, simple, effective movement. Something you can even do in bed. Now once that knee draws back into the chest, let the left hand slip away. Lift the right foot up and take a hold of it with your right hand. Let the knee angle off to the right side. The sole of the foot is facing the sky. And you're just holding half Ananda Balasana. Half happy baby. The left leg can just stay more passive. Or you can fire it up, yogi's choice. Maybe bringing the left hand to the belly. Noticing how it bellows as we breathe. And this diaphragmatic breath is so important for digestion. And I know when we travel, we can get a little stopped up. Just being in an unfamiliar place, an unfamiliar room. So this yoga and this breath work will help. Let's lift the left leg, hover the foot, squeeze the belly in, peel the head off the floor. After your 3 breaths, you can descend and release, coming back into this corpse position for just a moment. Feel the difference. All right, so let's go ahead and turn the body onto the right side. And there's a couple different things you can do. You can either rest the head on the arm. I like to lift my head up though and cup it with my hand. Pick one or the other. And stretch out through the legs as you stack them. All right, you're gonna slowly bring that left knee in towards your left shoulder. Right, so you're slightly rotating that hip open. And then we're gonna slowly stretch that leg, but there's a couple of different things you can do. If you already know you're pretty limber through your inner thigh, you can tag the big toe and take it up. If you're not sure, I would grab the back of the thigh and slowly lift the foot. And you may have to hold the thigh and you may be here. You may hold the calf and be here. And you might be able to hold the foot. Again, no right or wrong, no good or bad, no judgment either way. But this is the pose dedicated to Vishnu. and it represents Vishnu's couch, Anatasana. On your next out breath, release the hands from the legs, slowly descend it down, and then we can spin to our back and over to the left side. The right hand can help you to balance it first. And then when you're ready, bringing that right knee in and then opening from the hip, determining should I hold my thigh, my calf, or foot. And each side may be different. So explore the options. Exhale, remove the hands. Control the leg as it descends. So you build a little strength along the way. And then gently roll to your back. Even out yourself on your mat, and then bend your knees, flatten the feet to the floor. All right, bring your arms down beside you. So one other thing that I want to mention that's often brought up in the comparison between the Hindu or Indian myths with the Greek myths is they both believed, similar to the Egyptians, that there was this river that you had to cross to get to the other side. And on the other side, it held those that were deceased or departed. Now, we look at that river in these myths as being actually the Milky Way in the sky. So bring your arms down beside you, and we're gonna lift up and down 3 times into bridge. So as you inhale, slowly press through the feet, engage your hamstrings and glutes as you lift. And as you exhale, gently roll down. 2 more, inhale, draw it up. Keep your thighs rolling towards each other. Chest lifting to the chin, and then exhale, release. Just 1 more. We're going to use this as our final inversion today. And if you would like to hold this 3rd bridge for 3 full breaths, you can take another variation if you prefer. You can place your hands, you can take the full wheel, or just be here. As you exhale, release, and then we'll cup a hold of the knees. After giving yourself this counter position, we are going to set up for our Shavasana. So that may mean to you just sliding the legs out, fanning the feet apart, bringing the arms in that A-frame position. It may mean grabbing this little bolster and putting it under the knees or your spine. If you feel like you need to open the hips, you're welcome to place the blocks under the knees and recline butterfly. Now choose a restful position, something that's comfortable, and allowing your mind and body to be at ease. So one thing that I would like you to focus on, with your eyes closed, I would like you to imagine and envision that you're laid on your back in the evening in a place where there's hardly any lights.
And something that we should actually try while we're here. Even though your eyes are closed, imagine your eyes are open and you're gazing up towards the evening sky. And you're seeing the brilliance and the majesty of all the stars and the planets. Maybe a satellite or a few airplanes crossing overhead. But be more interested in the natural elements. And imagine you're seeing the Milky Way. Hopefully you've seen it before. And if you have, maybe you have that imprinted in your mind and you can pull that frame of reference up. The Milky Way representing that river, the crossover between the two worlds. Shavasana actually began as a meditation upon death, not in the morbid sense, but in a way to discover for oneself that there is something infinite and everlasting within. The body might come and go, the mind might come and go, but the spirit lives on. This is an important time to drop in and to discover that for yourself, and to discover you are the inner witness underneath and behind your thoughts, not your thoughts. That's just a product. Be the witness. Into the state of being. To the point where you're becoming almost thoughtless and breathless. motionless, perhaps a little mindless. You might have noticed your breath almost disappeared, becoming like a vapor, barely rolling. Because when you're relaxed, it's all you need. Now begin to open up that breath. Like Shiva was breathing life into Yama. Build the breath back up. Let's all take a cleansing breath, breathing in through the nose, out audibly through the mouth. Inhale, take that morning stretch. Exhale to wind release. And then rocking or swaying side to side. Turning to your favorite, and then coming up for a formal seat. Hands joined together. Om, om, om. The light in me honors and respectfully bows to the beautiful radiant light in each of you.